All right, so let's just give it a minute and get a few people on, then we will begin. So starting time should be 1400 hours, 1403. So 2 minutes from now, we'll get started. Okay. Very important for me. All right, so for those that are just joining in, we'll be getting started in about 2 minutes from now. We're just giving it a minute or two for a couple more people to join. But yes, I just hang in there. All right, so for the people that are just joining us, we'll be getting started in about 1 minute. So we're just giving it a few minutes for a couple more people to join. All right. So hi guys. We'll get started with whoever is here, and for the people that find us a little later on, you'll find us wherever we are at. Yes. So for starters, my name is Kenneth Ntende. I am the CEO of Monkey Pesa. And in today's webinar, we'll be talking about understanding prospecting, especially for B2B businesses. We have quite a bit of an agenda. And yes, for those that are already here, thank you for coming in. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so to get us kicked off, the first thing we'll do is to understand what we are discussing today. Today specifically, we are discussing about sales prospecting. For those that don't know, sales prospecting is just the first stage of the sales cycle. Usually there are different stages. There is prospecting, then there is the follow-up phase, then there is of course, the initial meeting that you schedule. So each of those is a different stage within the sales cycle. But for today specifically, we'll just be talking about prospecting. What does prospecting mean? Quite simply put, is if someone woke up today and told you, we need you to get 20, 40 customers to talk to today, where exactly would you go? So ideally, what we'll be diving deep in this webinar for is just understanding where do we go on the internet to gather leads for the businesses, especially B2B businesses. B2B businesses being those involved in business-to-business selling. So yes, who is this for? This webinar is intended largely for sales reps and entrepreneurs, people who are directly involved in the sales process, because it's mostly quite in depth. We literally go in depth and show you some of the tools that you use, and literally go show you how would you use Google, where would you find contacts, how would you use LinkedIn. So it's more technical. So if that isn't you, then this webinar is not for you. But if that is you, then this is the right place for you to be. So yes, I know some of you are asking, who are you and why should you be the one to teach us about sales prospecting? So just to give you a bit of context, like I said, my name is Kenneth Ntende. My first love is sales. Fortunately, I've had the chance to sell to over 1,000 different businesses, not just in Uganda, not just in Africa, but in the rest of the world as well. So because I have sold literally 4,000 plus customers and made millions of dollars in worth of sales, it gives me a bit more context, not just when it comes to selling to the local market, but also selling to the international market. It gives me a lot of insight, and some of the insight that I have learned out of my experience is what we are going to relate to everyone. So just to give you context, we're also live on TikTok. So if you're interested in checking that out, check out the Ntende Kenneth channel. And yes, next thing is I'll be talking about MonkeyPesa. MonkeyPesa is a software that helps businesses with their sales and marketing. So we bring together several sales and marketing tools under one umbrella, so that as a business, this is the perfect tool with all the features that you need under one umbrella to help service both your sales and marketing department. So for those that aren't already subscribed, please just go check out monkeypesa.com. Fortunately, we'll still go through the platform later on in the webinar. So yes, with that out of the way, let us actually get started. So yes, now sales prospecting entails only three things. The first thing that sales prospecting entails is KPIs, meaning how many people should you be looking for. It's never a wise idea for you to just wake up today and say, do you know what, let me go and look for 20 people, or let me go and look for 10 people. The first thing, before you even get started with the prospecting, the first question you need to ask yourself is, do you know what, how many people do I actually need to be getting every single day? Now, this is usually dependent on your sales goals. So what would happen is, I'm just going through a random figure. Say hypothetically we wanted to get, give or take, 20 customers this month. We probably sell an insurance product, or we sell a software product like we do, and we say we need 20 customers. Now, every salesperson should understand that for you to get 20 customers, you don't reach out to 20 customers. Usually the closure rate is about 20%, 10 to 20% for the normal novice salesperson. So what that means is, for you to close 20 sales, you need to be talking to about 200 people. So most people are going to tell me the number 200 seems too big, but Once you break down this number, you get to notice that it's actually not that big. So hypothetically, say you're 2 sales staff or you're even 1 sales staff. Okay, for this scenario, let me use 2 sales staff. 200 sales means divide that by 20. Those are just 10 sales a day. 10 people that you need to be communicating with a day. To initiate 10 calls a day, what that means is for the 2 sales reps, sales rep number 1 has to make 5 phone calls and sales rep number 2 has to make another 5 phone calls, which makes it extremely easy for you to achieve 20 phone calls. 10 phone calls by the end of the day. So yes, the first step of this cycle is step number 1, get to understand what is our KPI, because this gives you context of how much work you need to put in every day. Now, for this specific case, we're going to say we need 20 sales and we're at a 10% closure rate. We're talking to 200 people. This translates into 5 people per day. Now, after you have ascertained that these are how many people I need to be looking for, then step number 2 is now where exactly do you go? Now, the beauty about the internet is it has made things extraordinarily easy for us. So yes, step number 2 is now you have ascertained I need to go and sell 5 people a day. So for this case scenario, let's say hypothetically you're selling a software for hospitals or a software that crisscrosses different industries. I'm literally going to share my screen in a second just to show you how exactly you would go about looking for that 5 people that you need to talk to after you have determined that this is the number of people I need to be talking to. So just in a second, let me just share my screen. Okay. Okay. So yes, just I'm sharing my screen. So if you're seeing that, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. For those on TikTok, let me just flip my screen over so that you can also get the chance to see this. Okay. All right. Okay. So step number 2 is now how to actually go about the prospecting. Okay, so now what would happen in this situation is there are different platforms that you use to prospect. I'm going to show you about 4 of them. Some are going to be free options and others are going to be paid options. So I'm going to start with the free options because I believe many of you would want to actually understand how do I get customers for free first, right? So yes, in this situation of given ourselves the ideal situation of we're now selling a hospital management software and selling this probably across the entire African region. So the first platform we usually recommend you do prospecting from is of course Google. What would happen is go to google.com, then type in, hypothetically, if you're selling marketing services or you're selling to hospitals, just look for get me a list of all the hospitals in Uganda. And this is just for the scenario that you're based out of Uganda. So yes, what this would do is you have to just select, if you have location active, it will now bring you a suggestion of all the hospitals within the country. Now, the beauty about this is when you're looking for all the hospitals literally in the country, it not only gives you the name of the hospital, but it also gives you access to their website, as well as the directions to the hospital, and most importantly, the contacts of that given hospital. So keep in mind that for this case scenario, we have said we need 5 sales within the day. The first platform we have chosen to use is Google. Inside Google itself, literally just scroll, notice that it's going to give you countless hospitals. Just from my location here in Uganda, it's literally giving me over 500 different hospitals. And the beauty about this is I now don't have to go out hospital per hospital looking. I just literally come and search and get the contacts of any of the hospitals that I'm looking for. For this context, this is Ruby Hospital, and this is their contact. You can literally get that phone and call. Keep in mind that this webinar is not talking about how do you get engaged when you need to call someone, which the next webinar will actually address that. But for this one specifically, we're just showing you where do you go. Say you woke up today, you need 5 people. So here is where exactly you go. So platform number 1 is Google. Go ahead and search. The beauty about this, if you chose to expand and say, now I want to sell my same software, for example, to Kenya, all you have to do is literally do the same, and it's still going to generate a list of all the different hospitals within the region. So you who is selling that software, just for example, would be in position to still get quite a large number of people, and it would all be available. So just to reiterate, step number 1 was we set our KPI. We need to achieve 200 phone calls, and from those 200 phone calls, we just anticipate a 10% closure rate, which is about 20 people, 20 businesses. So step number 2 is we're asking ourselves, where are we finding these people? So the first platform we use is Google, just like I have showed those of you attending the webinar. So go on and you can get a list of probably 100 or the 200 people at once and begin initiating phone call after phone call after phone call. So that is how you leverage Google as a platform to get the contacts that you need. All right. So platform number 2, for those in B2B, is LinkedIn is one of the most powerful platforms. And this is how exactly you use it. I'm going to use us as an example. We sell a software for sales and marketing. This means that as a default, we sell to people, marketing managers and sales managers. Those are the people that tend to consume our software the most. So what would happen is, hypothetically, I would say I want the marketing managers or the sales managers. Now, the trick is not in just searching for marketing managers. It's usually in the filters on LinkedIn. So what would happen is now after you have searched for marketing managers, come down to the filters and say, okay, I need people based out of Uganda and whichever country you're interested in. But for my case, let me just select Uganda since I am in Uganda. Step number 2 is you would then say, maybe if there are specific companies you're interested in and you want the marketing managers from those countries, you would still select that. Don't forget the size, to select the company size and make sure that that person fits your ideal customer profile. The service categories, I'm going to say people who are interested in marketing, digital marketing, and digital consultants. If you have bias towards a specific language, make sure you put that. And if you have bias towards specific industries, like the previous example I used, you can say I only want people within the hospital industry or NGOs, or whatever industries it is. But for our case, we can really sell to any marketing manager. Yes, so after you have selected those filters, make sure you filter it as much as possible because it brings you the best quality leads. And once you select show results, it now brings you a list of all the marketing managers within the country. If you want to even further do it, you can start with those who are fast connections and get results of those fast, because I mean, you already know some of these people. Then go ahead and first of all, understand how many they are in the country. Yes, but these are only the ones I am affiliated to. Let me go back and refilter this to all the marketing managers in the country. All right. So what this does is it gives you the list of all the marketing managers. As you can see at the top here, there are about 424 marketing managers precisely. There could be some who are sales and marketing managers. There could be marketing heads. So make sure you also keep adjusting the title and get the filter and use the same filters to give you the best context of who exactly are you looking for and how many people are in this country. Something applies if I was searching for sales managers. It still works the same way. Break it down, get these filters and specify it and said, you know what, I want sales managers within the country who work for these specific companies. This is what they do. If you have specific industry interest, then add that there. If you have specific languages you're interested in, still add that there. Then show the full results. And LinkedIn still brings you the list of all the sales managers, just like you're seeing right here. Now, for this specific case, it has now brought me a list of about 4,100 sales managers within the country. And the job now from there is to make sure you go ahead and connect with as many as you can. Usually if your LinkedIn account is still relatively new, you won't be able to connect with more than 50 within a day. But if your account has been around, you're allowed to connect with quite a number of sales managers within the country. So once you have gone ahead and connected with these people, that's when you go to step number 2, which is now sending them a message, introducing yourself and what you do and what the value proposition you have is. So yes, this is the free version of LinkedIn. There's what they call Sales Navigator. I'm still going to take you through how to use Sales Navigator. But yes, for step number 1, that is how you get the list of all the sales managers now. That's when you can go to your step number 2, which is now messaging them, telling them, you know what, this is what our value proposition is. Can we schedule a meeting? But yes, back to what we were doing. This conversation is about sales prospecting and where to find people within the internet. And yes, that is exactly how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to find people. So yes, don't forget, in case you have any questions, you can leave those questions on my TikTok or within the comment section on the webinar, and I'll be in position to respond to that. Yes, so the third platform you can use to prospect is you can actually use Instagram and Facebook as channels to get leads. The way this works is, just give me a second, let me log into this. Yes, so the role of Instagram is to show you, to help you. Facebook and Instagram actually work the same way. What they would do is they would enable you find a couple of the people that may not necessarily be on Google or LinkedIn. There are quite a number of companies that honestly may not be here, especially when you're dealing with the African context. 57 157. Just a second. I'm logging into my account. 507. Okay. So yes, like I was saying, there could be quite a number of people that may not necessarily be on Google, but they still have a strong presence. Now, usually what happens is this is where now Facebook and Instagram come in handy. The first job of prospecting is trying to discover who else can I possibly sell to that fits my ideal customer profile. If you are selling to banks, for example, you are selling to mid-sized companies. I'm just going to use Britam, for example. If, say, for example, I was selling to insurance companies and I want to discover which other insurance companies in the country. So I would, for example, select Britam. Now, after I have selected Britam, there is this drop down right here. Very underrated feature, but it tends to suggest people who are similar to that company. As an example, it's suggesting Zeno investments, which may most likely be interrelated to the way the algorithm works. It does two kinds of suggestions based on your contacts and suggestions based on who is similar to the person that you are searching about. So your job is to now scroll through and see, okay, who exactly is similar to this person that I have searched about. Don't focus on the ones who are your friends or the ones who are similar to the people that you're following, but focus on the ones who are similar to that company. In this situation, there is Zeno Investments right here. So once I select Zeno Investments, I could still now dig deeper and see who is now similar to Zeno Investments. So that is the best way of keeping on getting a continuous list of different names of people who are interested in, who are related to people that fit your ideal customer profile. Now, what would happen is you would just get one name, and from that one name, you're still able to get quite a number of other companies similar to that company that you have just chosen. So this is Housing Finance Bank. Still do the same. Click the drop down and check which people are similar to Housing Finance. There is Wave Uganda right here. Now, after you have discovered all these people, make sure that whichever person crosses your mind, get into the CRM itself and add them as a new contact. Add them as a new contact from right here. So go ahead and add the details, whatever details you get. So say hypothetically you've got Wave Uganda, go on to Google and search for Wave Uganda and get their contacts and add them onto your CRM. That way you're getting a continuous list of people who you could possibly sell to. So yes, as the free options, I have already suggested how you can use Google and shown you exactly how you can do that for the people attending the webinar. I have showed you how to use LinkedIn, because LinkedIn gives you the further details. Who is the manager of this? Who is the sales manager? Who is the owner of this company? And it gives you the ability to directly message them. And once you have got the information and you know this is the person, you shouldn't get stuck on LinkedIn, because sometimes people, especially in Africa, don't respond to LinkedIn as much. So the job of this is just to prospect, get the name, and if Twitter is where they are or Facebook, still drop them messages on these other platforms that they might be more comfortable with. Instagram specifically is intended to just show you who is similar to the people that you are working with. And yes, the more you do it, the more you'll get to notice that it keeps suggesting, it will create an unlimited number of people that you could possibly talk to, which may not be the scenario when you try and do it the manual of going out to the streets to look for people who you want to possibly talk to. So yes, personally, the three most powerful platforms that have resulted into the best results in terms of conversions is number one, Google. Then number two, LinkedIn, because LinkedIn gives me the names of who exactly I'm looking for. Then number three is Instagram. Instagram and Facebook kind of work the same. We literally select the company page and click the drop down and see who is similar to that company. So yes, that is how exactly to use those three platforms. There are a couple of other paid versions, other paid platforms that may come in handy. Some of those being the Sales Navigator by LinkedIn. Then for those in the African region, I don't recommend using email. Yes, it does work, but for a very small percentage of Ugandans. Most times find a way of getting the details you need from LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, then go ahead and get the numbers and schedule meetings, because Ugandans and Africans overall don't have very good email and LinkedIn culture. Whereas if you are selling to the international community, you can literally just reach out via LinkedIn and you're sure that that person would be responding if they're in the EU or the US. Their culture on platform usage is much better. But for the Africans, yes, get the email, yes, get the LinkedIn, but ultimately make sure that find a way of getting the contacts. Even if you initiate those initial conversations via LinkedIn, At the end of the day, your job is to first get the phone number, because for the African market, they will respond to that conversation much better. All right, so just in a nutshell, those are some of the platforms that you could use to prospect. They would literally get you an endless number of contacts. And after this, we'll still have another session after I have now gotten these contacts. Step number 2 is, how do you go ahead and schedule the initial meeting? Meaning, how do you send out that initial message on LinkedIn? Number 2, how do you send out a message on Twitter? What should that be structured like? Or if you've gotten the phone number, how do you go about managing that conversation? So we'll hold another webinar at the same time next week. So if you would want to know how best to deal with this conversation, you should make sure that we'll send a link to those that attended. So just sign up for that as well. It will give you a lot of more in-depth understanding of how best to manage that phone call. Say hypothetically you got a contact of a hospital in Uganda, and this is the phone number. The next webinar will just be, yes, you have gotten this phone number. Now what next? How do you go about managing that conversation? What do you say when you've jumped onto that phone call? And for those of you that need assistance, just setting up their structures and understanding how their sales cycle is supposed to work, and understanding, man, honestly, I don't know how best to get more sales. You could as well just drop me a message or send an email to info@monkeypesa.com, where we are really hell-bent on helping as many people on the African continent sell better. We found ourselves whereby we talked to a couple of construction companies, a couple of law firms, and a couple of these other institutions. And when it comes to Africa specifically, it's like people tend to ignore how the sales process is supposed to work. It's not about closing the sale, but how do you optimally position yourself so that you continuously have recurring business going in. So what this means is you're going to need to set up your prospecting structures and get them done right. You're going to need to get your initial meeting, and how do we manage meetings as an entity? And the better you can refine that, the better the sales you'll get for your business. So yes, we'll also deal with how do you follow up. Yes, we're going to have a couple of webinars talking about these, but if you want better in-depth assistance, more custom for your brand, please feel free to reach out. We'll definitely be in position to help you. And after the end of this conversation, we're still going to submit this on our YouTube channel and make it available to everyone that wants to still check out the full video. For those on TikTok, I know you haven't really seen how we demo this, but you could as well go and check out the Monkey Pesa YouTube channel. It still goes in depth of how exactly you can manage this. And most importantly, ultimately, if you need any kind of assistance, feel free to drop us a message on TikTok, on WhatsApp, on whatever platforms you feel comfortable with. We'll be in position to help you improve the sales. And we understand that ultimately, the more the sales you increase, the more you will need our software, because it will be crucial to how you get more sales ultimately at the end of the day. So feel free to reach out via info@monkeypesa.com, and we'll be in position to get back to you. That's all from us today, folks. I'm going to leave it on for 1 minute or so. If you have any questions, please drop them here. If not, you could still follow up. We'll have the video updated on YouTube. You could still check out anything that you could have missed there. But that's all from us today, folks. All right. So if there aren't any questions, for those that have come late, you'll find the full video on on the channel. That's all from us, folks. Bye bye.